Hi everyone. Today I'm sharing a video on poliomyelitis. So we will be talking about the polioviruses. So if we talk of poliovirus, the genus of the poliovirus is enterovirus. Now this enterovirus, why we are calling them enteroviruses? Enteroviruses हम इसलिए बोल रहे हैं because they are the RNA virus which enter through the GIT, thrive on the GIT, but may lead to the CNS manifestation and CNS damage. So they are the enteroviruses. Now, if we talk of family is Picornaviridae. Picornaviridae. Pico means very small. RNA viruses, which belongs to the family Picornaviridae. And there are three serotypes of the poliovirus: type 1, type 2, and type 3. And type 1 is the most frequently responsible for the illness. And type 2 is very rarely involved. If we go long back, in 1988, total 350,000 cases of polio were reported worldwide. Following that, a global polio eradication initiative was launched in 1988, which used the four-pronged strategy. The main agenda of it was the use of the oral polio vaccine. The 4 points it used were routine immunization coverage, along with routine supplementary immunization activities, then AFP surveillance, and outbreak response immunization. Following that, in response to this global polio eradication initiative, which was taken in 1988, in 2016, it was really successful. We had only 37 cases. The last case, which was reported from India, was reported in 13th January 2011. And the India was certified as polio-free country on 27th March 2014, after 3 years of the last case. But unfortunately, we had certain vaccine-associated paralytic polio cases. So WHO has to launch polio eradication and game strategic plan from 2013 to 2019, in which there was a switching from trivalent vaccine to a bivalent vaccine, which contained two serotypes, 1 and 3, rather than 1, 2, and 3. And the polio vaccination is still continued in our country. Now the point, how the polio is transmitted. So we know it's an enterovirus and the main route is GIT. So the common just spread hota in developing country. It occurs via the fecal-oral route where the hygiene sanitation is poor. Another route it can spread to the droplets. So another route is oropharyngeal route, and the incubation period for the polio viruses, polio diseases 7 to 10 days. Now, the important part, clinical features. If we talk of 90 to 95% individuals which are affected with poliovirus, the infection is inapparent. There will be no symptoms at all. So 90 to 95% में तो कोई symptoms ही नहीं आ रहे. Then we had 5 to 10% जिनमें हमको manifestations मिलते हैं. Now we talk of abortive polio. So 4 to 8% जो majority है उसमें हमको मिल रहा है abortive polio. Abortive polio is like other viral illnesses. It will be like of low grade fever, sore throat, vomiting, abdominal pain, loss of appetite, and all that. But the recovery will be complete and rapid, and there will be no associated paralysis. This form of presentation is called abortive polio. Another thing we have is aseptic meningitis. Now, aseptic meningitis occurs in 1 to 2% of the patients. There will be fever, headache, neck pain, leg stiffness, all that will be present. Recovery will occur in 2 to 10 days. It is also a non-paralytic form. Then we have the paralytic variety, which ranges from 0.5 to 1%. It has basically two phases. Symptoms occur in two phases, minor and major, and which are separated by several days without symptoms. So initially minor phase will occur. In minor phase, it will mimic the abortive polio like other viral illnesses. There will be fever, sore throat, vomiting, abdominal pain, loss of appetite, all will be present. Then there will be a phase when the patient will become asymptomatic. There will be no symptoms. And after that, there will be a return of a major phase. In major phase, there will be involvement of the muscle. There will be muscle pain, there will be spasm, there will be fever, and there occurs the rapid onset flaccid paralysis, which occurs over the period of 72 hours. So this is the paralytic variety. Now in paralytic variety, if we talk of spinal paralytic poliomyelitis, it's a severe form with quadriplegia and paralysis of trunk, abdomen, thoracic muscles and all that. Jitna bhi muscle affect hoga, the muscles will be floppy and also the reflexes will be absent. Usually the involvement is asymmetrical, more in the legs as compared to the arms, and initially it will involve the proximal muscles and then it will move to the distal muscles. And if we talk of bulbar polio, bulbar polio जो होता है, bulbar means it will involve the cranial nerves, जो कि जिसमें हमको रेस्पिरेटरी इनसफिशिएंसी, डिफिकल्टी इन swallowing, eating, ये सब हमको मिल सकता है. Then we have another variety which is bulbospinal, that will be a combination of the bulbar and spinal. So these are the presentation. 90 to 95% में infection is inapparent. So we have to deal mainly जो clinical features हमको 5 to 10% में मिल रहा है. उन 5 to 10% में से भी 4 to 8% are presenting like a normal viral illness, that is abortive polio. 1 to 2% are presenting with the aseptic meningitis which will recover, and 0.5 to 1% are the our concerned patients which are paralytic patients, जिनमें हमको paralysis मिल रहा है. उनमें भी हमको minor major phases मिलेंगे, and major phase will land up into the flaccid paralysis. जो acute phase of illness होता है that lasts for 0 to 4 weeks, जिसमें paralysis हो रहा होता है. After it subsides, the recovery begins and the recovery of the paralyzed muscle start occurring. And usually maximum recovery takes place by 6 months of illness, and the slow recovery will be continued up to the 2 years. But after 2 years we don't expect any kind of recovery in a child, and the paralysis whatsoever left will be called as post polio residual paralysis. So after 2 years the child will have a residual paralysis which is going to persist for the whole life. And if we talk of the case fatality rate among the paralytic polio, so it is 2 to 20% among the paralytic disease. But if there is bulbar or respiratory illness, the case fatality rate may be as high as 40%. And the older the child, the higher the risk of the paralytic disease is there. To make a diagnosis of the poliomyelitis, so we will seek a history, proper history we will seek. So there will be a history of viral illness like presentation. Following that, there may be a history of disinvolvement of the flaccid paralysis, and then we will do the examination, and then further we will go for the stool examination. In all the cases of acute flaccid paralysis, we will go for the stool examination, and the possibility of detection is of virus is up to 8 weeks after the onset of illness. But the highest probability of detection of the virus is in the initial first 2 weeks. In the first 2 weeks, there is the highest possibility to detect the virus. And if we are suspecting some other illnesses, cause of AFP like Guillain-Barré syndrome or something else, then we will go for the CSF to rule out the other causes of acute flaccid paralysis. And serologic tests are not very important because they cannot differentiate between the wild and vaccine virus strains. So it has not got much importance. Now differential diagnosis. So all the things which are leading to the acute flaccid paralysis, all the causes like Guillain-Barré syndrome, transverse myelitis, traumatic neuritis, rabies, meningitis or encephalitis, botulism toxin or diphtheria toxin, all the vaccine associated paralytic, all need to be differentiated from the polio disease. Now how to manage? So if there is bulbar involvement, spinal involvement, so there will be respiratory involvement. So we have to hospitalize the patient and manage the patient. But if there is isolated limb paralysis, we can do the home management. After the acute phase, which lasts from 0 to 4 weeks, we can make the patient undergo physiotherapy, ambulation, orthosis, or orthopedic intervention for the same. Thank you.